Welcome back to day 2 of Theology BookMAS. I am getting my kids from school, and so I only have a few minutes. I'm going to say that the second book that has shaped my ministry that I think would be super helpful for you as well comes from the 9 Marks series of Building Healthy Churches, and that is The Gospel by Ray Ortlund. Now, you probably, if you're watching this, you probably know the gospel, or at least you're interested in the gospel and you studied it a lot. So what possibly could be new in a little short book called The Gospel? Not a lot. It's not like it's new information, but it is helpful information. And Ray Ortlund is able to write, and a lot of people are finding this about his kids now because of some success that they've had in writing some pretty recent books. But Ray Ortlund, I think they got it from his dad, that he writes in such a good and healthy emotional way. And he helps you to really connect the theological point with like the emotional application of it. And so he's able to do that with the gospel. He's able to show the emotional impact that it has to believe the gospel and live out the gospel in the context of a community called the church. And so it's super, super helpful. And I think it's really like it goes against what a lot of churches do today, which is, they're not really churches. They're places where a speaker gets up and he speaks, and whether it's good or not, he's done, and then those people don't really have all that much interaction for the rest of the week until they get back together on Sunday. Maybe there's like an email chain or something like that, or they're Facebook friends, but it's not like they're having, all that much community throughout the week. Maybe a Wednesday Bible study, something like that. A lot of churches do it. Most churches do it that way. And I think Ray Ortlund is really fighting against that with the gospel, because that's not what it means to live out the gospel in the context of the local church. It's not. We should be friends. We should be welcoming one another. And I think that this book, it didn't teach me anything new, but it just was encouraging to hear someone else say that. And I think that if more churches were to apply the gospel clearly and beautifully laid out in this book to their church, I think that we would find a lot more success in being able to have that fellowship. A lot of people use that term. I think it's okay to just call it friendship. And we would be able to have those friendships in the local church. And then also, like, what is more appealing than that? I mean, we know that when someone's passionate about something, like maybe you're watching this and you're like, oh, I'm interested in this, even though maybe it's not a book that I would be interested in it normally. I'm passionate about it. And so maybe that has an impact on you. Or you hear about someone talking about something and you're like, I have no interest in that subject, but they're passionate about it, and I want to now learn about that. Well, what's more appealing of us being passionate about the gospel and living in a context where the gospel is always on display with others in the church? How appealing is that to people on the outside of that church who don't know the gospel? There's nothing more appealing than passion. And I think that Ray Ortlund, in his book, The Gospel, really shows that. And here's the little subtitle: How the Church Portrays the Beauty of Christ. Forward by J.I. Packer. J.I. Packer doesn't forward everything. So just let that sink in. So this was day 2. Tomorrow I will have another video. I'd encourage you to go back and watch yesterday's, or check out my teaching series, Marking Up the Word. Today I'm going to be dropping one at noon. So be on the lookout for that. See you tomorrow.